To get into. As far as your freedom of speech, I did a little bit of reading in the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, Part 1, Section 2. It basically reads like the First Amendment, freedom of speech, freedom of expression. And I did, maybe there's an anti-defamation or some kind of thing deeper into the document I didn't get to that addresses not being mean to someone's religion or whatever. In my country, people are given a great deal of steerage to basically do and say whatever they want, and I don't think they always treat the First Amendment very well. I was on the internet recently. I was in bed alone in my utilitarian hovel with the laptop on my legs, looking at images on the internet. Oh yeah. No. I was just looking at the news and stuff, and I see an image of Michelle Obama, First Lady of the United States. And I think she's a very beautiful woman, but not in this photo. She looked really weird in this photo. There's something the matter with the First Lady. Her skin looks really weird. Her eyes look kind of fake. Like, what's the matter with this lady? And I scroll down to the bottom of the photo, and there's a small article, like a paragraph of writing. Thankfully, it's not the First Lady. It's a wax statue of the First Lady. That's why it looks so weird. But it kind of caught me out there at first. And it was just unveiled recently at Madame Tussauds, the American branch. It's a British museum, and it's in Washington, D.C. as well. And for a nominal fee, you can go in and see the newly unveiled Michelle Obama wax statue and other famous people in history. And that's all the article said. And I was done. It's a chunk of wax with a wig on it and a dress. Moving on. You know, how interesting is it really? And so underneath the article was the opportunity for you to post your big-ass opinion, because the information highway needs more content. It can't possibly have enough stuff on there. We need you and your big-ass opinion. And underneath it was over 1,000 postings. Now I'm awake. Why do over 1,000 people care about a chunk of wax? Because I was done with it immediately. So now I'm interested. And I scrolled through about the first 200 or so and skimmed what people had to say about a chunk of wax. And almost every single posting was awful. They said that the First Lady was a filthy baboon, that this photo is an outtake of Planet of the Apes, that her husband was a silverback gorilla, that her children are filthy chimpanzees. One person was able to misspell a very easy two-syllable word, leaving out one of the G's, calling the First Lady a filthy river in Africa. And I cannot that's a delay, it takes a second. N-I-G, and I can't broad brush all of Americans with that and to say that's where we're at. So I'm not there, and certainly no one I know does things like that, but it certainly speaks to a certain section of America. And so it's a shame that people, that's the choices they make. I had a night off the other night in Montreal, which is an interesting city. I'm sure many of you have gone. My hotel is always near the venue if ever I have a night off, and it's always like porn stores and prostitutes, and I know that's not Montreal, but it's always the part I get stuck in. And so like, it's a day off, I'm going to go for a walk, and after like 5 blocks, like, ew, these people have scabs on their faces. I want to go back to my room. I remember when I was a very young man, 1984, I was walking up the street in Montreal, that main drag, like St. Catharines or whatever it is, where all the venues are, and I'm walking, and I look like ass. I mean, I was so broke. And I was going to the Dunkin' Donuts for warmth and a cup of coffee, and because all I had was my freezing van in this tiny club we were going to play in that night. So I'm walking up the street, and a woman starts walking with me. And she says, you know, hello. I'm like, oh, hi. And I was so naive. I was so lonely. I thought a woman just, you know, thought this kind of shaggy-looking, you know, man was okay and wanted to talk to me. I'm like, oh, hi, how are you? She's like, oh, fine. What do you do? I said, I'm going to go get a cup of coffee. I'm in a band. I'm playing here. That's my van, you know. And, you know, I smell it from here. You know, it smells like socks and ass. And I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm just here for a day. I'm like, I'm really on to something. And I noticed she's got these, you know, stockings on. I'm like, oh, yeah. Well, what was I thinking? No, I couldn't pay for anything you could do. I've got about $4 to my name, and I probably don't even get a backhand across the face for that. So anyway, Montreal, night off. And I was in my room watching the healthcare thing pass in real time in America. I was watching CNN, watching Yay! You would make CNN. But okay, the healthcare thing passing. Yes, it was very good. And there is an American who I pay attention to because he's a riot. He's a congressman from the great state of Ohio. His name is John Boehner. And he's the Dean Martin of American politics in that he is perpetually tan and not always sober in public. And I don't know what's going on with his hair. It changes direction, it changes shape. I don't know if it's a comb over or a series of little tufts of hair that he molds into a weird weave, or if he's wearing a rug on top of his head. I'm sure it's okay. But he uses a tanning bed for sure, and to touch up and use like the spray tan, and his tint will change through the week. Also, his level of intoxication, where sometimes he seems like just absolutely stinko. And there's some great YouTube footage of him trying to speak while absolutely hammered. He's florid. The Tuskegee Airmen are the best black pilots America ever had. It's just awful to watch. And the other night he did this huge speech on the floor. Do we get a chance to read this bill? The hell we did! And I knew he was going to lose. And I sat there like, oh, John Boehner's gonna, oh God, this stuff gets me hot. These people aggravate me so much. They hate healthcare, they're gay, they have this insane idea that Barack Obama is this socialist, communist, weirdo, African, non-American thug who wants to eat your babies. And they're terrified of him because he can really speak. And yes, he is an intellectual. They can't stand it. And the gloves have come off since the healthcare bill passed. America has a real racism problem, and many people are trying to dance around it for years. And I was trying to give these people the benefit of the doubt, going, no, it's not racism. They're afraid of their fiscal Republicans. You know what? My country has a really bad racism problem. And it's like 1964 all over again, where LBJ, Lyndon Baines Johnson, had to put through integration, and people were so angry about that. Ronald Reagan tried to stop Medicare for Americans. When America wants to make a change, it always comes with violence, and I think my country is in for more of that. And right now it's just bricks going through windows and things, but I'm sure someone's going to die because of this. And as much as I think my country evolves, it's like one step forward and 5 steps back. And I'm not embarrassed for my country, because I know that my country's chock full of really cool people. I mean, look who just elected. It means Americans can think. It's just that when I see, the 8 boneheads come out, it's depressing to me. But, I remain optimistic, slathered in patchouli, and looking for a hacky sack, because I know things can be better. And I know that all of you, some of you, depending on the time you have, you look to the south at America and wonder from what great height we were dropped on our heads, or what's in the water, or why is real life there seems to be like a reality show fairly often. I don't know. We live in the upper case. We are very vivid people, and sometimes we make headlines that make all of you go, oh, really? Yes, it's true. And the last presidential election in my country, I watched, and I'm sure many of you watched it with a great deal of curiosity, because it played like a great Hollywood movie. In fact, if you were to take the last presidential election in America and make a treatment out of it for a major motion picture, it would practically write itself. America's reeling from 8 years of a president who had, at best, a tenuous grip on English. A man who held on to the English language like a man trying to hold on to a live eel. A man who lied to his country and suckered them into a war without end that got thousands of Americans killed. Who knows how many people in Iraq killed, and all over the world, gaining all kinds of distrust. A man who's intellectually incurious, who did not want to sit down with leaders. He just wanted to bomb their countries into extinction and call it the spread of democracy. And America is now broke. Their healthcare system is broke. The world's like, ah! And it's now time for an election. And on the Democratic side, there'll be an African-American candidate with perfect diction, with a crazy, edgy middle name like Hussein. Write down Hussein, that'll be a good one. Hussein. And give him who's that guy with the crazy name? Obama, that's a good one. Obama, but it has to be great at the beginning. Barack Hussein Obama. Oh, that's good, yeah. And he'll have